And I want you to see why it doesn't work, so we see what we really need to do. Okay? This would be A times the quantity S minus 1 squared plus B times S plus 2 times, okay, that's easy, right? So we just multiply numerator and denominator by S minus 1 squared, so we get the denominator we need, and everything comes out like so. So this equals, now S minus 1 squared is S squared minus 2S plus 1, easily done if you use the distributive law. And it's minus, okay? And that equals and I'm not going to have a 2, I'm going to have a 2b here. It's not 3. Then it's going to be plus, there should be an A here. Okay. Well, AS squared has to be 0 because there's no S squared up here. Okay? If A is anything but 0, this numerator is not going to match this numerator. Okay? And there isn't one. There's no S squared in the numerator. Okay. Then we have negative 2A plus B has to equal 3 because that's coefficient of S, and A plus 2B has to equal 4. Okay? But since A equals 0, zero plus B equals 3, not 0. And 0 plus 2B equals 4. So B equals 3. And B equals 4. Clearly, B cannot have two different values at the same time. So this is impossible.
I think you meant B equals 2 in the second equation.
Yeah, you're right. B equals 2. 2B equals 4. Okay? It's impossible. And the point is, of course, that B has two different values. So what we need to do we got to use A over S plus 2. But then we're going to use a BS plus C over, it says minus 1, S minus 1 squared. Okay? Since the denominator has an S squared in it, we're going to get an S squared when we multiply numerator and denominator over here. Okay? Because that's what happened over here. We got that S squared, and that's what messed things up. Now, we're still going to get an AS squared. Okay? But when we multiply this by S plus 2, we're also going to get a BS squared. So we're not going to be stuck with A having to equal 0. Well, let's work that out. Okay, what was my numerator? Well, that's 3S plus 4. It's S plus 2 and S minus 1 squared. Okay, we'll let that equal A over S plus 2 plus, now it's going to be a BS plus C over S minus 1 quantity squared. Well, that's going to then be A times the quantity S minus 1 squared over, well, and then it's going to be plus BS plus C multiplied by S plus 2. Divided by quantity S plus 2 times quantity S minus 1 squared. And squaring the S minus 1 and multiplying by A, we get this just as we did before. But then we're going to have what? BS squared. And I'm not going to have room to write this, I'll have to fudge a little bit. Right? And then we're going to have BS times 2. And then we're going to have C times S. Make that a bigger C. And then plus C times 2 over this. Now what we're going to do, and what we always do, is we group all the S squareds, and then all the S's, and then everything that has no S. Okay? So we have A plus B times S squared plus negative 2A plus 2B times S. A little sloppy here. And it wasn't done there. Let me just start this over and write it a little lower so it lines up. And maybe I'll remember to put all the terms in. Okay, so this equals A plus B S squared plus negative 2A plus 2B plus c times s. And then it'll be plus a plus 2c, right? All this over s plus 2 times s minus 1 quantity squared. So, I was going to circle some stuff, but I'm not going to do it. Coefficient of s squared, well, so this has to equal 3s plus 4, right? So, I better write the whole thing out just to make sure. Okay, here's the numerator, here's the numerator. The rest is straightforward. There's no s squared over here. So a plus b has to equal 0. There's a 3s, so that negative 2a plus 2b plus c has to equal 3. And then there's a 4, and that's got to equal a plus 2c. Now I can get rid of a very easily. I can do I'll leave a plus b equals 0 for the moment, but then I'm going to do equation 1 2 times this plus this is going to take a away, right? And that's going to give us, well, 2 times this is going to give us 2a. Subtract the 2a, we get nothing. 2b added to 2b is 4b. Two times 0 is 0. Add that to 3, we still get 3. And I ought to align these equations a little better, so let me just rewrite my a plus b equals 0. And then I do equation 1, this one again, added to the negative of equation 3, not 2. And that's going to be b, but first the a and the minus a is going to give me 0. The b doesn't have any b down here, so we're adding b to nothing, so we just have b. And then we don't have a c up here. We've got to add that to negative 2c. And here we're going to get a negative 4. Okay? We then solve these equations for b and c. Okay, and I'm not going to write out the details of that. I'm just going to say that if I add 2 times this to this, it's going to get rid of c. And 2 times 4b added to b gives me 9b. And then 2 times 3 is 6, and negative 4 is 2. so that B equals 2 over 9. And I'm going to want to check this because, but anyhow, B is 2/9. Then I'll substitute that in here. So I'll have minus 4 and minus 2/9. 4 is 36/9. So negative 36, negative 2 is negative 38. So I believe C is going to be 19 over 9. Now I got a big question mark there. We want to end on time, and the details of this you can easily do. And then A is equal to, A plus B is 0. So A would be negative 2/9. So that if these numbers are right, and double check that, it's getting late in the day. I've been at this for about 4.5 hours. And I could do things wrong in my head here. But I want to go ahead and finish this up so that you can go on to your appointment. So we have A over, or job, or whatever it is. Doesn't matter what it is. We want to get you out here in time. A is negative 2/9. So A over S plus 2 would be negative 2 over 9 times S plus 2. And then it's plus BS plus C. That's going to be 2S plus 19 over 9 times S minus 1 squared. We can then check this just by putting this stuff over common denominator and determine whether it simplifies to this or not. I give it a 50-50 chance since I did all this in my head, and it's approaching lunchtime. Okay, so there it is.